Good day, Borough of Bath. This is Brad Flynn, the Borough Manager for the Borough of Bath, and it is budget season. We started budget discussions back in June, and now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of building the 2025 budget, and of course we want you to be a part of that discussion and part of that process, and that's what this is for. Borough Council at their August 12th meeting had their first review of the 2025 budget. It was just an outline, and the purpose of this video is not to go line by line like we will do in future budget rounds as we build the budget. It's just to provide you with an outline that the Borough Council had, but also show you our budgeting format. So it gets you in the mood into budget season and how we kind of break things down. So let's get started. So the first thing you see, this is the Borough's 2025 Borough of Bath General Fund outline. And what I was just getting council in the mood here, getting them all prepped up, is just reading this budget in general. Now we've got about 6 different funds that we're passing a budget for, and they all take on this similar format and outline. So what we've been able to do is we break this down into the different columns. We see a fund, we see 2023 final budget, we see 2024 estimated budget, and 2025 budget. So what this all means, we have a 2023 final budget. This column, the first column here that is highlighted with the gray arrow as column number 1, it's everything within the QuickBooks. So that's our accounting software. Every municipality might be a little different. They use different softwares out there, I know, between the townships, the boroughs, and the cities. We use QuickBooks. So our budget versus actual for 2023 has been entered into that column, and that is after the audit, the 2023 audit. So what happens is the closeout of a budget year, let's say December 2023, there might be adjustments and different changes made to ledger lines by accountants, or we even as the borough may make some changes to lines once we've finished out our end of year reporting, and then we make some corrections here and there. So once you've got the audit complete, the numbers are finalized, you can't change them anymore after that, unless, let's say, Department of Economic Development from the state, when they look at our audit, they may want some changes as well. But ordinarily, once that's submitted and accepted by the state, the audit's closed, the 2023 final budget numbers are in, then that column is locked, and that's what this is basically representing. All the way down, 2023 expenses and revenues, and it's locked in according to what we've booked. Then we've got in the column number 2, the 2024 estimated budget. And that's basically our 2024 estimated budget that council passed back last December. All those numbers are then plugged in. That's both on the expense side and the revenue side. Then we have our 2025 budget, which is basically what we anticipate spending in 2025. It's an estimate. There could be lines that go over, there could be lines that go under. Obviously, our target is to hit our lines dead on. You don't want to overspend too much, because then your fund balance that you have in your bank account, that's going to have to absorb some of your extra expenditures. So on that note, I will talk about fund balance. What we have here now, what Bath kind of looks at, our municipality, we have a budget fund balance, but then we also have the total fund balance. And the total fund balance is basically everything that's left over in the checking account after all your expenses and revenues are calculated at the end of the month. One thing we do not do is show a balance forward or a fund balance, a total fund balance for the general fund. We will show the budget fund balance, and obviously you want your expenses to equal your revenues and show a balanced budget, but we don't show the fund balance forward, and we will be showing the fund balance forward or the total fund balance in the other funds, the MSW, the MS4, the highway aid, the capital improvement, the operating reserve, and the fire protection fund. We'll do that this year, and I'll show an example of that real quick. In another more simpler fund, the general fund, obviously it's got the most financial transactional data of any of our funds, so it gets kind of complicated. And the reason for us not showing the total fund balance is because of balance sheet items, which I'll explain here in a second as well. But for now, I just want to kind of reiterate 2023 final budget. This is tallied after our audit. And why is that important? It's because as we scroll down, see that total expenses on this recorded budget is $1,667,902.11. And then we notice that the revenues are 168712496, and it's showing a budget fund balance then of $19,222.85. This is a big difference than what's been recorded as of the December Treasuries report of 2023. And let's show you what I mean. You'll find our Treasuries report, and the Treasuries report for December shows that the net ordinary income, when you calculate expenditures and revenues, to be $110,157.98. So it is a very big difference. And a lot of this, again, has to do with after the end of the year, we have closeout or certain bills that we're closing out. We may have made changes to the ledger lines. Our auditors may have taken a look at a few things and asked us to do journal entries and things like that, where some of these amounts may have been changed out. It's also possible, like I said, the state's reviewing our audit, and they may also want us to change some things out. And that's why there's such a big difference, $110,157 as opposed to $19,000 and change on the budget versus actual in a post-2023 audit period. So that's why there's some differences there. As far as the fund balance, as I mentioned, budget fund balance will be listed for the general fund, and a total fund balance, which is everything left in the checking account, as I said, after all the expenditures and the revenues are calculated at the end of this month, or the end of the month, will give you balance forwards. We don't do it for the general fund. Why don't we do it for the general fund? We have balance sheet items, so long-term liabilities. And what I mean is, if we look here at debt principal and debt interest, so it was not recorded, the $55,000 under the general obligation note. It wasn't booked under the actual versus budget. Now we show it for representational purposes here, just so council is aware there is $55,000 there that needs to be paid towards the loan. So this is money that's pulled out of the general fund checking account, if you will, the bank account, but it's not showing up on the budget versus actual because it's another long-term liability. Now, interest is booked on the budget versus actual, and you will see that show up as you do here. It was recorded for last year. So we follow more or less the guidance from Pennsylvania DCED and their chart of accounts, and I'll show you what this looks like. This is the one page I'm going to reference, but this is the document, Chart of Accounts, 5th edition, July 2014 by the state. Now, if we go back to page 21, we'll see that it does discuss debt principal, and they've given a ledger line of 471. That's the recommendation for the municipality. Use that ledger line when you're booking this material in your accounting software. So debt principal, when not posted to a liability account, and we do a long-term liability account, you can put it under your budget versus actual, and that's where it would be. But in Bath's case, it's not. Therefore, it's on a balance sheet aside from the general fund, and these numbers, the fund balance then at the end of the month, when you try to look and see what's in the register, these things won't match up when you look at budget versus actual and basically the check register. So how does it differ? So let's look at the MS4 fund for 2025. What we see here, so at the bottom of this, after our expenses and our revenues, we have our budget fund balance showing a positive $68,867.23, and then a fund balance, which is everything left over after expenses and revenues are calculated to close out what was in the check register at the end of December 2023 is $68,867.23. So we started this fund. This is kind of easy because it was a newer fund. So there was no fund balance. It was brand new at the beginning, middle of the year, 2023. We're estimating that the carry forward would be $75,000, but as you just saw towards the bottom here, it was actually $68,867. So the other funds will show that going forward this year. That's the only different caveats this year. We're just kind of showing more of that information for everybody. But generally speaking, that is it. That's just going to be the outline, the format that we use here at the Borough of Bath. Other small municipalities may do something similar. They may do something entirely different, but that's what we're doing here, and I'm hoping that this will help council, but also council can also review this video again and kind of see the breakout and how we're doing our format and our outline. But it also will help you as members of the public, and especially those of you who can't make it to our meetings. Maybe you want to be a part of the meetings, but you can't make the meetings. Maybe you have work obligations, family obligations, whatever the case may be. So this is really a voice for those folks as well. I hope this video was helpful. There'll be more to come as we go later into the budget season. There'll be more budget hearings, maybe even some special hearings through September and October. The plan, always in the Borough of Bath, is to have a budget hopefully passed before Thanksgiving. It's not always the case, but by law, we're required to get a budget passed no later than December 31st of each year. And I do believe we're on track to do that one way or the other. If you have any questions, you always give us a call, 610-837-6525, or you can email me at manager@boroughofbath.org. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.